Welcome back, legends! Today we're breaking down why Shrek is better than Frozen. From swamp weddings to meme supremacy, this debate has layers just like onions. Grab your torches and pitchforks because it's about to get messy. Shrek invented the meme culture before memes existed. Before the internet turned every awkward face and catchy phrase into a meme, Shrek was already laying the groundwork. Think about it. "What are you doing in my swamp?" is basically a proto-meme, the kind of line people repeated, remixed, and quoted long before TikTok or Reddit existed. Shrek wasn't just a movie, it was a living, breathing template for internet humor. The exaggerated faces, the absurd situations, the fact that an ogre and a donkey could steal the show over pretty fairy tale characters, it was pure meme fuel. Frozen tried to create cultural moments with Let It Go, but that's just a song stuck in your head. Shrek gave us an endless library of reaction content. Every frame of that film is meme-worthy. Shrek's eyebrow raise, Donkey's clueless grin, Lord Farquaad's height problem. Frozen? Sure, Elsa can conjure an ice castle, but nobody's photoshopping that into Shrek is love, Shrek is life. The internet literally worshipped Shrek, spawning ironic fandoms, fan art, and entire subcultures. Frozen wishes it had that kind of cultural chokehold. Shrek didn't just break the mold, he turned it into a format that defined online humor for decades. Shrek gave us All-Star as a cinematic anthem. When you hear the opening chords of Smash Mouth's All-Star, your brain doesn't think late 90s alternative rock. It thinks Shrek kicking open the outhouse door. That's cultural impact on a god-tier level. Shrek didn't just use a pop song, it transformed it into an anthem, a lifestyle, a battle cry for every millennial and Gen Z kid who grew up watching green ogres save princesses. Frozen had Let It Go, which became an earworm moms begged their kids to stop singing. But All-Star? That song became a meme, a nostalgia trip, and the background music for half the internet's edits. Without Shrek, Smash Mouth would have been a one-hit wonder lost in a dusty CD binder. Instead, they got immortalized in the most chaotic fairy tale ever told. Frozen's soundtrack was polished and Disney perfect, but Shrek's soundtrack was fun, ironic, and unapologetically loud. It was music that made you want to grab a torch, storm a castle, and crash a royal wedding. That's the difference. Frozen gave you Broadway vibes, Shrek gave you the feeling of a mosh pit in a swamp, and honestly, which one sounds more fun? Hold up your turn now. Drop your most savage reason why Shrek destroys Frozen in the comments. Funniest clapbacks will get crowned in our users edition. Don't hold back, we're judging. Donkey is a better sidekick than Olaf could ever dream to be. Sidekicks make or break an animated film, and let's be real, Donkey is on another level. He's not just comic relief, he's Shrek's hype man, therapist, emotional support animal, and chaos generator all rolled into one loud, lovable package. Olaf from Frozen? Cute snowman, sure, but that's about it. He cracks some jokes, sings about summer, and waddles around. But he's basically just merch bait for plushies and Happy Meals. Donkey, on the other hand, is a whole character with heart, depth, and punchlines that still hit 20 years later. He courts a dragon, survives Shrek's constant roasts, and delivers lines with Eddie Murphy's legendary comedic timing. He's the kind of sidekick you want at your bachelor party and your therapy session. Olaf feels like he was designed in a Disney lab for maximum awe factor, while Donkey feels alive, messy, unpredictable, and genuinely hilarious. If Olaf vanished tomorrow, Frozen still works. If you remove Donkey from Shrek, the whole movie collapses. He's not an accessory, he's family. And honestly, no snowman could ever spit fire like Donkey literally and figuratively does. Shrek has layers. Frozen just has snow. This isn't just a meme-worthy line, it's the entire philosophy of the Shrek franchise. Ogres are like onions, they have layers. Boom. That single metaphor gave Shrek more emotional depth than half of Disney's catalog combined. Shrek is grumpy, sarcastic, and insecure, but as the story unfolds, you peel back his layers and see vulnerability, love, and loyalty. That's storytelling that sticks with you. Frozen? Sure, Elsa has ice powers and Anna wants her sister back, but strip away the snowstorms and sparkles, and the characters are fairly flat. Elsa's main layer is just repression until she belts out a power ballad. Shrek, meanwhile, forces you to confront prejudice, self-acceptance, and what it means to be truly loved while still making fart jokes. That's balance. The swamp isn't just mud and muck. It's a metaphor for real, messy life. Frozen hides everything under glittery snow, like slapping frosting on an empty cake. Shrek gave us wisdom wrapped in onions. Frozen gave us a snow cone. One nourishes your soul, the other melts in the sun. The Shrek soundtrack actually slaps. Name another animated film where every single track could live rent-free in your head for decades. You can't. Shrek didn't just have a soundtrack, it had a playlist that felt like your cool older cousin burned it onto a CD for you. All Star by Smash Mouth, I'm a Believer by Smash Mouth, again, double dose of chaos. Accidentally in Love by Counting Crows, Hallelujah by Rufus Wainwright. The lineup was legendary. These weren't just background songs, they defined the scenes. The music made Shrek feel alive, fun, and unpredictable. Frozen's soundtrack? Polished, yes. Broadway level, sure. But it was designed to be marketable, not memorable beyond Let It Go. Shrek's soundtrack was raw, weird, and weirdly perfect. It was the kind of mix you'd blast in a car with the windows down, not something you'd politely clap to in a theater. The Shrek soundtrack didn't just slap, it grooved, it screamed, it moshed. And honestly, it carried emotional weight too. That hallelujah scene? Heartbreaking. Frozen can keep its ice castle ballads. Shrek is the one that still makes you want to belt out with your whole swampy chest. Shrek appeals to kids and adults with savage humor. Here's where Shrek absolutely bodies Frozen. It wasn't just a kids' movie. It was a multi-layered comedy that hit different depending on your age. As a kid, you laughed at Donkey being loud, Shrek burping, and the dragon being terrifying. As an adult, you suddenly catch all the hidden jokes like Lord Farquaad's name, say it fast, the sly digs at Disney's clichés, and the satire of fairy tale tropes. Frozen? It's basically sugar-coated for kids, with just enough surface-level jokes to keep parents from dozing off. But no one over the age of 12 is chuckling at Olaf's summer song the way they are when Gingy screams, "Not the gumdrop buttons!" Shrek dared to be savage, it roasted storybook culture, dropped innuendos, and still kept a PG rating. That's genius. It's why millennials rewatch it today and find new jokes they missed as kids. Frozen doesn't evolve with you, it stays the same sparkly, safe Disney production. Shrek grows with you like fine swamp wine. That's the difference between timeless and trendy. Frozen became annoying with Let It Go on repeat. When Frozen dropped, Let It Go was everywhere. And at first, yeah, it was powerful. But then, it never stopped. Radio stations played it non-stop. Kids screamed it at the top of their lungs in the back seat. School talent shows were basically Let It Go karaoke battles. It went from catchy anthem to pure psychological warfare. Meanwhile, Shrek's All-Star and I'm a Believer stayed fun because they were meme-worthy, not mind-numbing. They didn't haunt parents like a never-ending ice storm. Let It Go became the kind of song that made adults roll their eyes, groan, and beg for silence. Shrek songs never reached that level of overkill. They were joyful chaos, not a frozen prison of repetition. And here's the kicker, Elsa's ballad was supposed to be empowering, but it ended up being the soundtrack to millions of parents losing their patience. Shrek's soundtrack aged like fine wine. Frozen's hit aged like milk left out in a snowbank. At some point, everyone collectively said, "Please, for the love of the swamp, let it stop." Shrek made fairy tales funny again. Before Shrek, fairy tales were mostly polished, perfect, and predictable. Princess gets saved, prince is charming, cue the happily ever after. Boring. Shrek came in and flipped the entire genre on its head. It roasted every cliché Sleeping Beauty snoring, Robin Hood as a wannabe boy band frontman, and the whole knight in shining armor routine. Shrek didn't just tell a story, it parodied the entire fairy tale machine, and it did it with bite. Frozen? It tried to do a twist on true love by making it about sisters instead of a Prince Cool idea, but still wrapped in sparkly Disney packaging. Shrek went all in on satire. It turned fairy tales into something funny again, not just magical. Kids laughed because it was silly, adults laughed because it was clever, and together it felt revolutionary. Frozen gave us another princess and a snowman. Shrek gave us fart jokes, self-awareness, and a donkey trying to marry a dragon, and somehow it worked beautifully. Disney played it safe, Shrek dragged fairy tales through the swamp, and in the process, made them feel alive again. Shrek spawned a franchise that defined a generation. Shrek wasn't just a hit movie, it became a cultural empire. 4 films, a spin-off, Puss in Boots, Broadway musicals, video games, endless merch, and yes, literal internet religions built around the green ogre. Shrek became bigger than a film. It was a shared childhood. Ask anyone who grew up in the 2000s, and they can quote Shrek like scripture. Frozen? Sure, it got a sequel, some short specials, and a ton of merch. But does anyone really debate Frozen 2 at parties? Does anyone worship Elsa ironically online? Nope. Shrek's legacy is massive because it didn't just entertain, it left scars of joy. Shrek memes, Shrek festivals, Shrek marathons on TV, it was everywhere. Frozen's cultural moment came and went, locked inside a snow globe. Shrek, on the other hand, kept reinventing itself for new generations. That's why 20 years later, people are still yelling, "Get out of my swamp!" While Frozen kids have mostly moved on. Shrek was lightning in a bottle, and that bottle got franchised into an entire childhood experience. Frozen relies too much on Disney magic clichés. Frozen, for all its snow and sparkle, is still very much a cookie-cutter Disney movie. Big-eyed princesses? Check. Magical powers? Check. Animal sidekick for comic relief? Check. Emotional ballad that's force-fed into every kid's brain? Double check. It's basically Disney's greatest hits playlist with icicles glued on top. Shrek, meanwhile, mocked that exact formula and still crushed at the box office. Instead of leaning on clichés, Shrek shattered them. The princess isn't perfect, the hero is an ogre, and the happily ever after looks like a swamp wedding with onion cake. Frozen stuck with the safe blueprint, dressing it up with snowflakes and a power ballad. Shrek took the blueprint, ripped it up, roasted it over a fire, and served it with donkey jokes. That's why Shrek felt fresh and original, while Frozen felt like another entry in the Disney assembly line. Sure, Frozen had sisterly love instead of romance, which was a nice tweak, but overall, it was still Disney Magic 101. Shrek wasn't magical. It was messy, real, and infinitely more memorable. Shrek had a dragon romance subplot. Iconic. Only Shrek could pull this off. A wisecracking donkey falling in love with a fire-breathing dragon. It sounds insane on paper, yet somehow it works. And not only does it work, it becomes one of the funniest and most surprisingly wholesome subplots in animated history. Donkey and Dragon's romance gave us humor, awkward flirting, panic when she's interested, heart, they actually build a family, and one of the most legendary wait, what? Moments in film history when their dragon donkey babies showed up. Frozen? The most romance we got was Kristoff awkwardly singing to a reindeer and Anna falling for a guy who turned out to be a cardboard villain. Yawn. Shrek dared to give us interspecies love and made it both hilarious and oddly sweet. That's boundary-breaking storytelling. Dragon went from being a terrifying boss fight to a full-on beloved character because in Shrek, even monsters deserve love. Frozen never took risks like that. It stuck with safe, predictable relationships. Shrek gave us a dragon-human hybrid family and somehow made us root for it. That's not just iconic, that's legendary cinema. Shrek showed real character growth. Frozen recycled tropes. Shrek starts as a grumpy, selfish ogre who just wants to be left alone. By the end, he's learned to open up, accept love, and build a family. Fiona starts as a perfect princess stereotype and ends up embracing her true ogre self. Donkey learns loyalty, Dragon finds love. It's a full arc for everyone. The characters grow, change, and surprise us. Frozen, on the other hand, is basically Disney remixing old ideas. Elsa runs away from her problems, then comes back classic fear versus acceptance arc. Anna is just the typical plucky optimist we've seen in every Disney princess since Ariel. Kristoff, discount Sven with human legs. Even Olaf is just the new generation sidekick slot. The film doesn't push characters to evolve. It just decorates them with ice. Shrek was groundbreaking because it showed that ugly, angry, and imperfect people can change and deserve love. Frozen felt like a reskin of older princess tropes in a snowy landscape. Shrek's growth was layered, messy, and real. Frozen's growth was just a glittery reset button. Shrek's villains are hilarious. Frozen's villain was forgettable, Lord Farquaad. Enough said. The man is 4 feet tall with the ego of a skyscraper. Every scene he's in is meme gold. His dramatic speeches, his ridiculous throne room, his desperate attempt to marry Fiona despite being the least threatening villain of all time. Then you've got Fairy Godmother in Shrek 2, a karaoke singing manipulator who steals every scene, and Prince Charming who's basically every spoiled theater kid rolled into one. Shrek villains are funny, campy, and memorable. Frozen? Who even remembers Hans? His evil twist was so bland that half the audience forgot his name before the credits rolled. He didn't inspire memes, laughs, or even real hatred. He was just a plot device wearing a cape. Disney played it safe. Shrek gave us villains that were parodies and legends all at once. People still quote Farquaad's lines, still laugh at Fairy Godmother belting "I need a hero," and still roast Prince Charming's golden locks. Hans? He's the guy you remember only when someone says, "Oh yeah, wasn't there a bad prince in that movie?" Shrek villains live forever. Frozen's already melted. Shrek proved ugly can be lovable. Frozen stuck with pretty princesses. Shrek broke the mold by saying, "You don't need to be beautiful to deserve love." The hero isn't a dashing prince, he's a smelly ogre. The princess doesn't end up staying picture perfect. She embraces her ogre side, and that's her happy ending. That message hit hard because it was different. It told kids and adults alike that beauty standards are nonsense, and real love is about who you are, not how you look. Frozen? Back to the Disney formula. Elsa and Anna are both slim, wide-eyed, flawless princesses who look like they were designed by a beauty filter. Their quirks don't change the fact that they're conventionally gorgeous, and the story never challenges that. Shrek had the guts to say, "Love is messy, imperfect, and sometimes swampy." Frozen kept saying, "Don't worry, you can still be perfect while learning life lessons." Shrek's bravery in flipping the beauty script gave it timeless depth. Frozen just sprinkled more glitter on the same old Disney doll designs. Shrek broke the Disney monopoly on animated hits. For decades, Disney owned the fairy tale game. Every animated blockbuster was theirs, and nobody could touch them. Then along came a big green ogre who kicked down the castle doors and said, "Move aside, mouse." Shrek was DreamWorks' middle finger to Disney, parodying its formula, mocking its tropes, and still dominating the box office. And it didn't just succeed. It won the very first Best Animated Feature Oscar in 2002, beating Disney. That was unheard of. It proved audiences wanted something different, something funnier, messier, and sharper than the polished Disney machine. Frozen? By the time it came out, Disney had already re-cemented its monopoly, and Frozen was just business as usual. Another glossy hit that printed merch money, but Shrek was the revolution. It showed the world that Disney wasn't untouchable. It gave us a competitor, a cultural counterweight, and a giant ogre stomping on the mouse's turf. Without Shrek, we'd probably still be stuck in a Disney monopoly swamp. Instead, Shrek made the swamp the coolest place to be. Shrek is infinitely more memeable than Frozen. Let's be honest, the internet crowned Shrek the king of memes years ago. Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Get out of my swamp. Farquaad's face zooms. Gingy screaming, "Not the gumdrop buttons." Every single frame of Shrek can and has been turned into meme gold. Frozen? What's the meme legacy? A few. Do you want to build a snowman? Parodies and some Elsa edits. That's it. Shrek didn't just give us content, it spawned entire subcultures. Shrekfest exists. People ironically worship Shrek. There are Shrek raves, Shrek fan films, Shrek TikTok edits. The internet basically adopted him as its green, swampy mascot. Frozen, on the other hand, never made it past basic viral status. It was popular, sure, but it never became a full-blown meme empire. Memes are cultural survival. If people are still laughing at your movie decades later, you've achieved immortality. And Shrek achieved that on day one. Frozen melted in the spotlight, while Shrek got stronger, stranger, and funnier with time. The internet doesn't forget its true meme overlord. Shrek had better sequels than Frozen ever will. Sequels are usually where animated movies crash and burn, not Shrek. Shrek 2 is widely considered one of the best animated sequels ever made. Some argue it's even better than the original. It expanded the world, introduced iconic new characters, Puss in Boots, and gave us the fairy godmother belting "I need a hero," which is still legendary. Shrek the Third and Shrek Forever After may not have reached the same heights, but they kept the franchise alive and gave us more green chaos. And then came the Puss in Boots spin-offs, which proved the Shrekverse still has magic and memes to give. Frozen? One sequel. Frozen 2? And what did it give us? Some new songs, a lot of lore nobody asked for, and a few scenes that left fans scratching their heads. It wasn't terrible, but it didn't elevate the story. It felt like a forced encore. Shrek sequels expanded a universe. Frozen 2 just stretched out a snowstorm. Shrek proved you can build a franchise with longevity. Frozen proved lightning doesn't strike twice. Shrek quotes are still alive. Frozen's are already fading. 2 decades later, people still randomly shout donkey. Component placement. Get out of my swamp. Zrina, or better out than in, I always say. Gingy's not the gumdrop buttons. Still gets laughs. Even Lord Farquaad's "Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make" became a political meme powerhouse. Shrek quotes live forever because they're short, punchy, and hilarious out of context. Now, let's look at Frozen. Aside from "Let It Go," what quotes have stuck? Maybe, "Do you want to build a snowman?" And that's about it. Elsa's ice monologues? Forgettable. Anna's awkward rambling? Cute at the time, but nobody's quoting it in 2025. Shrek carved its dialogue into meme stone tablets. Frozen whispered into the snow and disappeared. Quoting Shrek makes you instantly relatable online. It's part of internet culture's DNA. Quoting Frozen? That phase melted years ago. Shrek didn't just have dialogue, it had catchphrases. Frozen had lines that only worked in the moment. That's why Shrek quotes are timeless, while Frozen's are already fading into the slush pile. Shrek made green cool before Baby Yoda. Everybody thinks Baby Yoda, aka Grogu, made green the cutest, most marketable color in pop culture. Nah. Shrek did it first. Back in 2001, being green usually meant you were gross, slimy, or a background alien in Star Wars. Then Shrek rolled up, farting in mud, scaring villagers, and somehow becoming the most lovable hero in animation. He flipped the script. Green wasn't gross. It was powerful, funny, and even romantic. Kids loved him, adults rooted for him, and suddenly swamp green was the color of the decade. Frozen? What color is its brand? White and blue. Pretty, but forgettable. It blends in with every other snow-themed thing in media. Shrek made his color iconic. Even now, when you see green ears on a headband, you instantly think Shrek. Baby Yoda might be cute, but he's standing on the shoulders of a giant. Without Shrek proving that green could headline a billion-dollar franchise, Grogu would just be another background puppet. Shrek made green cool years before Disney even realized. Shrek's wedding scene is legendary. Frozen doesn't compare. The ending of Shrek wasn't just a wedding, it was a chaotic swamp party that doubled as a full-blown concert. Fiona embraces her ogre form. Shrek proves true love isn't about looks, and Donkey belts "I'm a believer," like it's the finale of a Broadway musical on caffeine. It's goofy, heartfelt, and unforgettable. That wedding didn't just tie up the story, it celebrated everything Shrek stood for: messy love, found family, and having fun in the mud. Frozen's ending? A polite royal ice party with everyone skating around like they're in a Hallmark snow globe. Cute, sure, but it doesn't leave you screaming lyrics at the top of your lungs. Shrek's finale was the kind of ending that made you want to dance in your seat, laugh at Donkey's vocals, and cheer for a love story that actually felt earned. Frozen's ending felt like Disney tidying up with a bow. Shrek's ending felt like a party you wished you got an invite to. And honestly, who wouldn't want to crash a swamp wedding with Smash Mouth playing live? At the end of the day, everyone wants Shrek in their swamp. Here's the truth. Shrek isn't just a movie, he's a vibe. He's the ultimate underdog. The grumpy hero who didn't want fame, fortune, or castles. He just wanted peace in his swamp. And somehow, that made him the most relatable animated character ever. Shrek represents freedom from fake perfection, a rejection of royal rules, and the joy of living authentically, even if that means wallowing in mud. Frozen gave us ice castles and princess drama. Pretty to look at, but not something anyone truly connects to. Nobody dreams of living in Elsa's cold palace. But Shrek's swamp? Weirdly, yes. People want to be there, chilling with Donkey, roasting marshmallows by dragonfire, and crashing into random musical numbers. Shrek's world feels alive, messy, and fun. Frozen's world feels sterile and staged. That's why Shrek endures, because in the end, everyone wants a piece of the swamp life. And that's the ultimate win. Thanks for watching, Swamp Squad! Remember to roast Frozen in the comments with your best arguments, and smash that subscribe button for daily debates. Until next time, the reasons why, epic debates, legendary comments.